One of my favorite stories surrounding the resurrection of Jesus is found in Luke 24, verses 13 to 35. And it's the story on the road to Emmaus. It goes like this. Now that same day, two of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem. They were talking with each other about everything that had happened. And as they talked and discussed these things with each other, Jesus himself came up and walked along with them, but they were kept from recognizing him. He asked them, "What are you discussing together as you walk along?" They stood still, their faces downcast. One of them, named Cleopas, asked him, "Are you the only one visiting Jerusalem who does not know the things that have happened there in these days?" Now I want to stop there because I want to point out that I think that these two that are on their way to Emmaus are a married couple. Now that this is not an outrageous idea because first of all, it says two of them. It doesn't say two men, just two of them. And second, it says one of them is Cleopas. Now, Scripture tells us that there was a woman at the cross and at the burial and most likely at the resurrection. Her name was Mary, and she was the wife of Clopas. Now, Cleopas and Clopas, there's only one letter difference. And who knows, in all of the translations and everything else, it's probably the same person. And he was there with his wife, Mary, and so now they're on their way home. The story continues. Jesus says, "What things?" And then the answer about Jesus of Nazareth. He was a prophet, powerful in word and deed before God and all the people. The chief priests and our rulers handed him over to be sentenced to death, and they crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one who was going to redeem Israel. And what is more, it is the third day since all this took place. In addition, some of our women amazed us. They went to the tomb early this morning, but didn't find his body. They came and told us that they had seen a vision of angels who said he was alive. Then some of our companions went to the tomb and found it, just as the women had said. But they did not see Jesus. Jesus said to them, "How foolish you are, and how slow to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Did not the Messiah have to suffer these things and then enter his glory?" And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he explained to them what was said in all the scriptures concerning himself. As they approached the village to which they were going, Jesus continued on as if he were going farther. They urged him strongly, "Stay with us, for it's nearly evening. The day is almost over." So he went in to stay with them. When Jesus was at the table with them, he took bread, gave thanks, broke it, and began to give it to them. Then their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, and he disappeared from their sight. They asked each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he talked with us on the road and opened the scriptures to us?" It seems as though they were beginning to sense something familiar about Jesus on the road, but it became crystal clear when they watched him break the bread, because it was a familiar thing that they had experienced with him before. And in fact, even the language helps us to sense that familiarity when it says, "He took bread, gave thanks, and broke it, and began to give it to them." These are the words that we say when we have communion. And then it says, they got up and returned at once to Jerusalem. There they found the 11 and those with them assembled together and saying, "It is true, the Lord has risen and has appeared to Simon." Then the two told what had happened on the way and how Jesus was recognized by them when he broke the bread. In those times when you feel far from Jesus, what is it that brings you back? Sometimes it's being in church, but sometimes it's being in a place where you felt close to God in the past, in the mountains, at the beach, or maybe it's that chair you sit in when you pray or study scripture. What are the places that bring you back to Jesus?